Alright everyone, today what we're going to be learning about is amplitude, midline, and period. So last time we were talking about the sine and cosine function, and I sort of introduced you to amplitude, midline, and period, but we didn't exactly call it amplitude, midline, and period. So first we're going to start out with amplitude, which is just how high up and down the wave goes from its midline. So we also need to talk about what a midline is. That is just the line that cuts the wave in half horizontally. So for the sine and cosine function last time, that was the x-axis. The period is just how long it takes to complete one full wave. So for sine and cosine, that was 360 and 2 pi. But today it's going to be a little bit different because we're sort of looking at some transformations. So here's the formula that you really have to know. F of x equals a sine of bx plus c. Okay, this a could be positive or negative, but the amplitude is only the positive of it. So if it said 2 sine, that would be, the amplitude would be 2. If it said negative 1/2, the amplitude would be 1/2. The next thing is this bx. Okay, so this b is what we're looking at. The period of your function, so how long it takes to complete one full wave, is 2 pi divided by b. Okay, so if this was 3x, then it would be 2 pi divided by 3. And then the c on the end is your midline. But it's not just c. Sorry, this says midline. It's actually y equals c. And that's because it's going this way, so it's going through a tick on the y-axis. Okay, and we could have f of x, or we could have f of theta. These both mean angle in here. Angle. Okay, so let's look at some examples since all the words seem kind of abstract. We're going to be finding the amplitude, midline, and period of each. So first of all, the amplitude. This is just the number in front. So see, it was this a here, but it's the absolute value of the a. So if it's negative, it becomes positive. So we're looking at the very first number in here, which is 5, and that is actually just your amplitude. So 5. Then the period is 2 pi divided by the number in front of x. Okay, so 2 pi divided by 2 in this case. But 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So what we're going to do is we're just going to reduce this. Since 2 divided by 2 is 1, you get 1 pi, which is just pi. Okay, and then the midline is just your number on the end. Okay, so it's this c here, which in this case is 3. But we're just going to make it y equals 3. Okay, y equals that number on the end. So the midline is y equals 3. Not so bad, right? Okay, so let's move on to example number 2. Starting at the beginning, the amplitude is the absolute value of the number in front. So since this is negative 2, the amplitude is just positive 2. Then we're going to look at the period. The number in front of x is 1. So the period is 2 pi divided by 1. But anything divided by 1 is itself, so the period is just 2 pi. All right, and then the midline is just the number on the end, and we have to take this entire number on the end. So this is negative 4, the midline is y equals negative 4. Don't forget the y equals in these problems. That's the only tricky thing. All right, next problem, example number 3. All right, here's with our thetas instead of x. Notice I almost wrote x, but we're going to try it out with theta. The amplitude is the absolute value of the number in the front. So since this is negative 1/2, the amplitude is positive 1/2. The period is the number in front of x or the number in front of theta. But the important thing to know here is that this is really just 1/4 times theta, okay, because this would give you theta over 4. So since this is the number in front of theta, then the period is 2 pi divided by 1/4. Okay, but 2 pi can be written as 2 pi over 1. So since we are dividing fractions, it's going to be 2 pi over 1 times 4 over 1. Remember, keep change to multiplication and flip the last one. So now we can multiply across the top, and you're just going to get 8 pi. All right, and then the midline is just the number on the end. So it's going to be y equals negative 1. Okay, last example. The amplitude is just the absolute value of the number in the front. So the amplitude here is 4. Then the period is the number in front of theta or x. So since here it is 1/3, 1/3, then we're going to do 2 pi divided by 1/3. So since we're going to change, flip, it's going to be 2 pi times 3/1. Okay, so it's going to be 6 pi. Multiplying these two on top, 6 pi. And the midline is just the number on the end. So it's y equals 1/2. All right, this one is really just memorization. And the hardest part is this 2 pi divided by the number in front of x. Okay, so really the number you have to remember here is 2 pi. All right, 2 pi. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can message me and remind, or you can email me, or whatever you want to do is good with me. Okay, hope you guys have a great day. Bye.